everybody. This is Captain Sparrow of SV Neptune's Nightmare Oceanic Survivors. Just wanted to provide you guys with an update on what all is going on. So far, we have registered the boat, got that in our name. Yes, we are very proud of that. Swan is currently at work. She's been working on a job. I had to quit mine recently upon figuring out that it is illegal to anchor in Alabama. I repeat, it is illegal to anchor in Alabama. We are not allowed to be even anchored here. The state police had showed up and stated this, that it was illegal to anchor in Alabama, so we are further figuring out a good place to go. We're thinking about towards Pensacola, towards Florida, blue water that I'm able to dive in, and we can look at the bottom of the boat. And, I'll feel more comfortable being able to be down where I can see the bottom of the water of the bay. Again, it's very hard to see the bottom of the water. It's trashy, nasty, brown water. It was nice being here in Alabama. I met a lot of good people. I now own the boat that I own, and we moved up. A little bit of an update on the boat. So upon this, we got a little 900 watt generator, which is working wondrous, and we have painted the engine. Engine is rebuilt and painted, and we have hooked up over there. Yes, excuse the strap and the professionalism of it. We have hooked up heat exchanger. Heat exchangers, I ran raw water for a while, and then somebody had told me that it's not a good idea to run raw water in your engines because of the little things that happen with aluminum electrolysis, and it's just not good. So we ended up trashing the idea of running raw water. So we are running straight water, and we are going to flush it out and use antifreeze. In the midst of later on. Right now we're just running water just to get the solubles and all of that out of there. I am running some desalter through it right now, the first couple of runs. I run it once every day. I'll start it up, crank it up, and it'll run. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and do that now. So you guys can get amidst of everything that's going on. And found out I needed a new fuel pump. Fuel pump lately has been acting up. It'll bog up and bog down and bog up and bog down. So I'm in the middle of getting another one here tomorrow. It's payday for me, so I'm going to go ahead and get that tomorrow. Other than that, everything else has been running great. Engine oil looks great. For a rebuilt motor, it runs about 45 pounds. Oil pressure, which is wonderful. And that's another reason why I decided, all right, yeah, we're going to do this right. We're going to go with the heat exchanger, and we're going to run this correctly because it is a rebuilt motor. I didn't want to trash a rebuilt motor, even though it's only $100 or a cylinder to get a new one, and I have access to it. I don't want to take those resources unless I have to. Other than that, the packing gland, yep, I tried to sink the boat. That was fun. As everybody in their videos has said, oh, we're sinking the boat. I pulled all of the packing gland out. Ended up ordering the next size bigger, which was treacherous. It didn't work. I ended up having to go with the original gland that I had made. Now, I had taken some really good cotton cord. It was fully cotton cord line that I had on deck. I had taken and boiled some wax
and I had dipped it down into the wax and let it sit there in the wax and soak all the wax up. And then I had wrapped it around the shaft and locked it in there just so that when we went into the water, I knew that I was able to pull it out, put new packing in, and all of that good stuff. Upon that, I ended up getting the wrong packing. So, with the initiative, I took the packing all the way out and wrapped it around the shaft like you're supposed to and scored it. And then I unwrapped it, cut it all the way down, even sliced, and then stuffed that back in there. So far, it's been working. I've had the thing running in gear around the anchor in circles for an hour and a half, about an hour, hour and a half, and it never got above 110 degrees. I'm perfectly fine with that. 97 to 110 is around where it was at. I'm perfectly fine with that. I can deal with that, especially when I'm going up the ICW. There's a lot of things that you have to take into play because you're in a heavy traffic area. There's a lot of things that can go wrong there that you don't want to go wrong because they go wrong. You're stuck in a river or ICW. You can't go anywhere. You're screwed. So upon that, I got all of that fixed. We have been working on the sail, the main sail, and the pilot house. Yes, the pilot house, the newest project, fiberglass project from oblivion. So I come up here and I'll show you the pilot house. She now has a pilot house. Not sure if you can hear me or not. I'll speak up a little bit over the generator. But yeah, she has a pilot house. It's in its rough stages right now because of everything working on it. The cockpit was leaking, so I was like, all right, let me do a pilot house over it so I can put my solar panels up there and have everything up there and ready to go. And then I got that done today, got that glassed over. I had a bunch of fiberglass left over from when I did the mast, if you guys remember me building the mast. So I did that, and I fiberglassed the cockpit in. It's pretty hard now and pretty sealed, and it was pretty fun. It was like back when I originally did the boat projects, I had the issue with rain every single time I would epoxy. I would literally epoxy and the curse of rain would hit. This time it happened again. It decided, oh yeah, hey, let's hit him again with some more rain. So it did. It hit me with some more rain as soon as I got the epoxy ready, got it all done. All of a sudden I turn around and there's this big old gray cloud, and Swan calls me from work and she says, what's up? I said, well, I just got done epoxying the pilot house and it is about to rain. I'm not sure if it's going to rain there or not, but it's raining here. In about 5-6 minutes, and lo and behold, the storm literally stayed to shore. It stayed on shore. I seen it rain on shore all the way down the beach and didn't touch us. There was a light sprinkle for a little while, but that was about it. Other than that, we ended up getting the shower fixed. We now have a shower on board. We had bought one of those eBay showers. It was like the little orange one you can buy. It's batteryized. You can recharge it. They don't charge on solar, apparently, with the inverter. They don't work. I don't know if it's something with the lithium ion. I'm thinking it is because when Swan was vaping, she had one of those lithium ion vapes. And those batteries took a toast like within the week of hooking up to that. So future reference to anybody, you can't charge lithium ion off of inverters. I didn't know that, I didn't realize it, but there's enough proof there to state that I'm pretty sure that's correct. Other than that, we've been running good off of our solar and good off of the wind. We had all the sails hoisted the other day, about 10-15 knots we were playing around with. We're going to be doing a lot of videos here in the next week. We haven't quite decided whether we're going to leave tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, or over the weekend. Now that I'm registered, it really sucks that I registered and then I was sitting here, I'm like, why is it only uh, 2 months that I'm registered for? And I sat there and I thought about it and I was like, yearly registration starts on December 1st. So January 1st, the new registration would start on January 1st. And I have to now pay again. I paid like $325 total to have my registration done. Thank God I don't have to go through that guy again, so it's only $200 to register it. I'm just going to go through, register it again, um, and call it good. I might just wait and have it registered. Just come up here to Alabama, register it here, or Florida, one of the two. Because I have the registration now in Alabama. They don't issue titles, they have registration, same as New Hampshire. The titling company I went through was Two Brothers Titling Company. It costed $325. It was $100 to them and $225 to the state of New Hampshire. They registered it with the bill of sale and picture of the vessel, picture of the VIN, picture of my driver's license, and I sent that all off to them in an email. They sent me a message back that I would have everything in 3 to 5 business days. I had it in exactly 3 days. Registration, stickers, all of that. And I did find out that these little number kits, future reference, they like to stick you and make you buy more because there was only one H and half a dozen ones. They could have put half a dozen ones out of the way and put another H in there, but they decided to skimp on a lot of the letters to make you buy more. So take that into note if you're ever doing a registration. Make sure you buy more, or make sure you flip the package backwards and make sure you're going to have enough letters for said registration. I'm certainly glad I did it on board. So what I did is I took a white piece of plywood, I painted it over white, and I stamped the numbers and my sticker or my New Hampshire seal on there, and I epoxied over it so that my letters were never going to come off. I just threw a layer of epoxy over it. I'll paint over it white again, put the next state of letters on there if I ever move states. Reusable board, it's plywood, it goes right up on your transom perfectly, right between the bars, or your bowsprit perfectly. It'll go right up in between the bars. Cut it at an angle and tie it up there. It won't go anywhere. It'll last forever. And it's easier than putting them on the side of your hull. It's just one last vinyl thing that you've got to later on take off and then put new ones on. And it's pain in the butt sitting there with a razor knife or a heat gun and a razor knife pulling them off. Other than that, we've just been playing around a little bit. I have been working on the interior, putting new flooring down in the middle section there that was rotten in the beginning videos. Took that all up, redid it, oiled it, put it in the cockpit, the helm. I built the helm with a friend of mine at Turner Marine. Yacht sales, I was working there for a little while, and the owner had a problem with me getting my boat out of the marina during Hurricane Ida. Hurricane Ida had came in, and it was coming in angry, and we weren't quite sure where it was going to go. And I still had a little PTSD from Hurricane Zeta. So I left my boat out of the marina. We took off up Dog River, and we anchored it right down the road from the marina, just in case I had to go to work the next day. And he's like, oh, by the way, I don't know if I told you this, but you were supposed to work this Saturday, and don't bother coming back. I was like, okay, cool. Like, I don't want to come back. I don't want to come around. I don't care to come around. have a nice day. Um, because they were pretty mean to a lot of people. When I was working there, I realized that they were skimping on a lot of work. 90% of their people there didn't know exactly what they were doing. There was the small line of people that actually knew what they were doing as far as fiberglass paint, mechanic work, and the rest were subcontractors that were privately contracted to work on these boats. And I was one of the guys where they wanted me to replace a packing gland in a boat, and I went to replace the packing gland in a boat, and there was literally this much between the packing gland itself and the or the packing coupler and the actual engine transmission drive coupler. And I go up into the office. I say, "Hey, boss man, this isn't gonna work. This isn't the right. It's just not gonna work. I can't undo the coupler and put new packing in it. I'm gonna have to take this coupler off, and I'm going to take this coupler off, and I'm chipping the coupler away, like chunks of this coupler away, with a 9/16 wrench, just hitting it with this wrench, and it's just shattering from rust and electrolysis." And he's like, "Oh, well, you're going to have to cut it with this die grinder and all of that." And I told him, well, that's going to take me quite a few hours to sit there and try to cut that with a die grinder and not cut the transmission coupler. Why don't I just take the other route of taking the engine out? Well, then we got to bring the engine hoist over, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you know how to. All right. So I go over there, I take my 1-ton hoist, I hook it up to the boom. I've done this before in the Cascade and in the 34-footer. Took my 1-ton engine hoist, pulled that engine up, pulled it all the way up out of there, and 4 bolts. 4 bolts, undid it, undid the coupler, pulled it out, pulled it up enough, and I grabbed the whole of that shaft, and I pulled that shaft all the way out, undid the coupler, packing gland, and the sleeve, took that out. I take it to him. He said, "Well, the packing gland isn't even that bad." I'm like, no, it probably just needed tightened. So, upon the initiative, there's a lot of things that they go to do there that are literally just chased by money, not quite common sense or people's lives. I had this one coupler there that our through hull in a Beneteau, really expensive Beneteau, 41. Previous boat mechanic had went in there and he cut the through hull flush with the deck, or with the nut, and it went through the hull, and he tightened the nut down and he cut straight through. You can't screw a shut-off valve or anything to it. It's cut flush. There's no threads there. So I took a picture of it. I took it up to the boss man, showed it to him. Oh, great. Well, all right. And it was epoxied in. That's a little bit better. I ended up having to take a 1/4-inch piece of steel, 3/4-inch piece of steel, and cut it to where it would fit into the through hull, and I had a big old crescent wrench, a big old pipe wrench tightened all the way down onto that piece of steel, and a 3-foot cheater bar to pop that through hull off. Yes, I finally managed to do it, but trying to do that in the middle of the ocean when something like that goes wrong, not something I would recommend. Upon further notice of that, old man Turner that gave me the boat, I told him, I said, graces be with you. Thank you for the boat. Thank you for everything that you've done. I'm going to have to part ways with this because the scenery around here is not right for me. I do not like it. I will not allow it to be part of me in any manner or such. He said, well, fair sales, buddy, and it was nice knowing you, and I'm certainly glad you got that boat out of here. And it's been a trek the last 7 months building this boat, across from the learning treks. I went to the marina and I learned quite a bit from the marina, quite a bit from everybody in Alabama, from the first boat that I had in the first video, the Cascade 36 that I bought for $1,000 with my stimulus check. I had bought it in Colorado. We moved down from Colorado over here on Greyhound, came all the way in, and it had a foot and a half, 2 feet of water in it. Love Robbie to death. If it wasn't for that man, I wouldn't be sitting on this boat right now. Him and Zane Yoder of Sailing Views, we had came past this boat right here the first month that I was in with the Cascade. That day that I actually made that video, we came and we were tooling around the marinas, looking at abandoned boats and everything. They both looked at that boat and they said, that boat's gone, that boat's done, there's nothing to it. And I wouldn't listen to anybody. When your goals and your dreams sit, there's going to be a lot of people that tell you you can't do something. And then they look at it and they say, wow, it's time to go. Zane, for instance, we got the boat going and we left the marina, and about a week later I seen him and he said, wow, yeah, I seen that, and you got the engine running, you got the mast up, you got the sails up. And I was sitting here thinking, all right, yeah, it's time for us to get going on this boat, make sure everything is seaworthy, because you are there. Half expected something out of a couple of years being there. And you did it in 7 months. I did it in 7 months. 8 months counting because I just hooked up the heat exchanger. Don't tell anybody, we'll keep it at 7 months. We got all that hooked up, and the engine cranks up, engine runs, everything's good to go. My only regret is that I didn't talk to Mr. Turner previously about the factor that he had a 20 kilowatt generator for $1,000 sitting right underneath the dinghy that I had gotten from him for $400. It was sitting underneath it, and he's like, yeah, everything's there, it's ready, the wiring harness, everything. And I was like, well, if I'd have known that, I'd have had you plop that thing in there when I had everything else, and I'd have cranked it up and ran my diesel with it. And I was like, well, I got a $75 one just to amp up my batteries, keep those charged whenever the sun isn't shining that much. It's great on gas.